Good evening. It is Tuesday, August 17th, 2021, and coming to you live from the Lonely Tree Media Studios in Yakima, Washington. This is the Best Lamm Sports Show. I'm your host, David Lamm. With me is my son, Parker. Say hello, Parker.
What's going on, everybody?
You know, I didn't get the applause quite right, so I gotta, the cue, the sign didn't go off, so the audience didn't know what they were doing.
That's fair. That's fair.
I gotta get. I'm telling you, I need a.
We gotta start. We gotta stop
staff.
inviting them.
we could just stop having people in the studio audience. That's correct. That would that would solve a lot of problems. We're live streaming on YouTube. We're on Twitter at Lamm Sports. We're on Facebook under the Best Lamm Sports Show. You can send us an email, lammsports@gmail.com, and please check out our webpage. Did I say webpage?
You did.
All right. Well, check it out.
Check out our webs page.
If you haven't been to a webs page, you will be soon. www.lammsports.com. You can find links to the past shows, and the current trivia question is always on there. We have some stuff to talk about. The NFL is what we're going to talk about tonight. All NFL.
Yeah.
We're going to look at about a dozen teams and what's happening with them, their preseason, and how we think they're going to kind of do, what they need to address. It's going to be fun. So we want to get started right away. And hold on, you know what you got to do is you got to make sure that you're on the right thing when you're on the right thing, right?
Yeah, that's something like that's accurate.
I feel like that's true. First segment of the show is brought to you by The Range. The Range is Central Washington's premier indoor shooting destination at 34,000 square feet. The Range is an all-inclusive facility offering firearm training, retail, sales and supplies, full gunsmithing and repairs, custom builds, and Cerakote services. It's all under one roof at The Range, open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 7, Sunday 11 to 5. Go see our friends at The Range, 1701 Garrettson Lane in Yakima. Phone number is 509-571-1449. Make sure you mention the Best Lamm Sports Show. The Range, educate, equip, and empower. So let's go right into it, because that's what we need to do. And that's the first team we're going to talk about is the Atlanta Falcons.
Falcons, yep.
The Atlanta Falcons were 4-12 last year, last in the NFC South. And we kind of, if you remember last year's NFL preview, we kind of determined that the NFC South was going to be the division. And to an extent, we were right. We just didn't realize it was going to be a two-team division.
Yes, it was definitely not the race we were looking for.
No, Carolina wasn't nearly anything, and Atlanta was worse.
Way worse.
Atlanta was 4-12, but to their credit, they lost 8 games last year by 7 points or fewer.
Just bad.
That's
means you're in it.
That means you were in it. They actually lost 6 games where they gave up 24 points or fewer. And so their defense was not the issue. It was just that they could not score. They got close to the end zone, and there was nothing happening. Matt Ryan's back.
Right.
Julio Jones is not. And yeah, I mean, I know, and they got Calvin Ridley.
Kind of hit or miss, yeah.
They got Calvin Ridley, who will become the number one.
Right.
It's a big loss, I think, Julio Jones. I don't think it's gigantic in that he only played, I think he played 8 games or 9 games last year. You know what? I have that number. Hold on. He only played in 9 games last year with 51 catches, 771 yards, 3 touchdowns. And that was the thing. 3 touchdowns because they could not get in the dang end zone. Atlanta was 19th in scoring offense. Yeah, 5th in the pass overall in terms of total yards, and 19th in scoring. They just couldn't get the ball in the end zone. And they couldn't run. And that seems to be a trend. I think there's a lot of teams that just have an issue running the football, and I think that would open up a lot of things. You've got this 4 or 5 halves that have the running back, but the rest of them are kind of meh.
Yeah, the rest of them aren't exactly cooking in the same way, yeah.
Felipe Franks and A.J. McCarron are the backups in case Matt Ryan gets hurt. Do you trust either one of those with your football team?
Negative.
Okay.
Not even kind of. Neither of those guys inspires any level of confidence in me at all.
And Franks is a rookie, right? So, but McCarron's been around a couple Sundays, but mhm. He's one of those SEC guys who comes into the NFL and he's highly touted and then does nothing.
Yes, and then he
Um,
goes to sleep.
and then, and then you don't hear from him again. By the way, here's Atlanta's claim to fame: they are the first 100% vaccinated team in the NFL. So, I give them a little credit.
That's pretty cool.
I give them credit for that, but I mean, they're still going to only win 4 games probably. That's my guess. Tough division. They're still playing New Orleans. They're still playing Tampa Bay. That's probably 4 losses, right? That gives them 12 more games to be good. And I don't see it from Atlanta. I feel like if Matt Ryan wants to win, he needs to get out.
Ooh, you think he's still got something left in the tank?
I think Matt Ryan still is a good quarterback. I think he has something to offer a team who is in need of a quarterback, and I'll tell you who that is later in the show.
Ooh, that's exciting.
Yeah, but I feel like he is a guy who has some ability if you can surround him with the right parts and pieces. He's never had the complete team except the one year they should have won the Super Bowl, and they
That's
didn't.
fair.
I mean, that was just a letdown. That was a defensive letdown and slightly a coaching offensive letdown. They called the wrong plays, tried to be conservative, blah blah blah.
Yeah, keep your foot on the gas.
Exactly. Don't let up.
Would Bill Belichick take his foot off the gas? I don't think so.
I probably
But
probably
Dan
not.
Quinn would.
Yeah, he did. So
Yeah.
anyway,
They
so
were top 5 in passing last year, so
give
yeah, he's definitely got something there.
give me a number for Atlanta. How many wins?
Mm, they still have to compete with Tampa, so I think there's 2 losses. I'm gonna say 7 wins.
Okay,
That's a pretty conservative number.
wow, 7. That's a lot though for me. I think that seven's a lot of number. That's a big number. I'm going with 4 again.
Oof, bold.
Yeah, I know.
I think they're gonna be able to snake 1 or 2 off of New Orleans.
If their defense improves slightly, they could win 2 or 3. But
If their offense improves slightly.
but they lost Julio Jones, and I feel like that's a gigantic loss. That's a number 1 target, and they didn't replace him. Calvin Ridley's going to become number 1, but we'll see.
That's fair.
Because who's your number 2 then? And anyway, all right, let's move. So
Right.
more teams we got to talk about. We're going to talk about a lot of teams today. Carolina Panthers is the next one we're going to talk about. Carolina
Sticking in the division, huh?
Well, it kind of worked out. They're alphabetical, and it kind of worked out that way. Carolina was 5-12 last year. Why did I say 5-12? That sounds like 17 games. I feel like that's a typo.
They gave him a loss in their 5. That's so disrespectful.
They were losing so many, we gave them an extra one. So I think
5-11.
5-11. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were third in the NFC South, just a game ahead of Atlanta. And so here's my question. Here's another quarterback question. Sam Darnold, Will Grier, P.J. Walker. Those are your quarterback candidates in Carolina. Right. Of those guys, I wouldn't want any of them, but I'm going to take Sam Darnold.
Well, yeah, I think you have to.
Right.
I think you have to take Sam Darnold.
And he showed you that he couldn't win in New York. Now that could be the Jets. But he's going from a 2-win team to a 5-win team.
The Jets love to underperform, and they love to do it on purpose. So I think that Sam Darnold got hosed a little bit there.
At some point in time, the Jets have to cycle around and be good, right?
No.
Okay, all right. I thought it was like a cyclical thing, and then eventually they had to come out of the doldrums and just.
So that's, I feel like, how it used to be. There was a period of time where you drafted players, they were there for their careers, that sort of thing. Maybe the occasional trade happened, but it was kind of not there. And if you were a bad team, you drafted higher. You got the better players. Those players didn't leave you. They stayed with you forever. So eventually, if you're bad for a couple of years, you're going to end up having 2, 3, 4 stars on your team. And then you're going to start competing again and working your way back up. And the team at the top is going to start falling down the draft order, and that's going to hurt them. And it's just it is going to be a circle. Now with players demanding their way out of teams, like in their rookie deals, like, yeah, it's not a good thing anymore because, teams can just stay at the top all the time.
And I think free agency is one of those things that can make a team immediately impactful, if that's the right term.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, look at Tampa.
Yeah, you just add that one guy, and it's just it's like instant oatmeal. You add water, and you got it.
Right.
That's a bad analogy. I don't know. Two things.
Oh,
A healthy Christian McCaffrey. He played
right,
3 games in 2020. So that was Teddy Bridgewater not getting the advantage of a jack of all trades Swiss Army knife Christian
right,
McCaffrey. McCaffrey had 403 touches, 2,392 yards in 2019. They both led the NFL, both those
right.
categories. What I'm looking forward to most is the Sam Darnold to Dan Arnold connection. Dan Arnold's a tight end this year in Carolina. So it's Darnold to Arnold, hopefully for a touchdown. I don't know. We'll see. We'll
How
see how it goes.
spectacular!
Give me a number for Carolina this year. You said
I think
7 for
they're going
Atlanta.
to. I think they're going to fall back, and I think that's the issue. I think they're going to go to 4.
Oh wow. Okay.
So the reason why I have Atlanta at 7 is I think they're going to snake a couple off of, or snake one off of, maybe one or two off of New Orleans, and I think they're going to take one away from them. They'll probably win an extra one along those way. They can't lose all those games by 3 points, so they're going to grab one of those, and boom, they're there. But yeah, I think that Carolina takes a step back this year. But it's also the second year of this coach. Matt Rule's only been there for 1 year, so who knows, what he's got going on. Last year was install, this year's execution, and next year's refinement.
Have you watched Matt Rule and his mouth thing that he does
No, what does
on
he
the
do?
sidelines? He like licks his lips. His mouth it's weird. You're gonna have to watch it. I advise everyone who's listening, watch as many Carolina Panther games as you can and watch Matt Rule on the sidelines. When they pan to him, he if he's not talking, there's a good chance that he's licking his lips and doing some sort of mouth motion that you'll go, what the heck is he doing? Because I watched him do it and I'm like, this is ridiculous. I'm mesmerized by his mouth. That's the dumbest thing I've
I
ever
just
said.
tried to Google to Google it, and the first thing that comes up is somebody named Mary on Twitter says I cannot watch Matt Rule lick his lips one more
Oh
time.
my gosh, he constantly licks his lips. I don't even know how can whatever. All right, I'm gonna go with 6 wins. They're going to
Okay.
go one forward because I don't think Atlanta's going to go anywhere. I'm going to give
Okay.
Carolina one more win, year 2 of Matt Rule, although it will be Sam Darnold instead of Teddy Bridgewater. I feel like that's a step back. But a healthy Christian McCaffrey should be worth at least one more win if he stays healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong. I've been
I see
wrong.
what you're saying.
I've been wrong before once. Right
Just
now,
once.
yeah, right now, yeah, exactly, just once. Right now, we're going to talk about the trivia question.
All right.
The Best Lamb Sports Show trivia question brought to you by Stave and Stone Wine Estates in Hood River. The winery at the vineyard is at 30. Wow, I gotta slow down. 3827 Fletcher Drive. Open 7 days a week from 12 to 6 for indoor and patio dining. Go to staveandstone.com and check out their selection of award-winning wines, or make a reservation to go taste for yourself. Call 541-946-3750. That's 541-WINE-750. Or email them at info@stavenstone.com for more information. Stave and Stone, wines with personality. And if you haven't heard this before, and you probably haven't, later this year, we are going to do a live broadcast from Stave and Stone Wine Estates in Hood River. Stay tuned for more information, but that's coming. So we want to, pack the place, the wine garden, with about 1 billion people, and
Right.
sell them a whole bunch of wine and have people listen to the sports. So anyway, stay tuned. We'll let you know when. Trivia question is this. Are you ready?
Yep.
As we talk about these teams that may make a big turnaround this year, and we
Sure.
haven't talked about any yet, but we will. But we will. The trivia question is: what 2 teams share the NFL record for most improved win total over the previous year?
What 2 teams?
Yep.
Hmm.
Most improved win total. So they had X amount of wins last year, and then this year they had Y amount of wins, and it's the largest turnaround in 1 year. 2 teams share that title. How many games? Who are they? How many games did they improve? If you can tell me what years they are, that's a bonus.
Right.
But anyway, there you go. Trivia question.
All right.
All right, I know. And now it's on with our countdown of mediocrity. Most
That's true.
most of them are. Let's go to the Chicago Bears.
Okay.
They are the epitome of mediocrity. 8-8 last year. Second in the NFC North, they actually made a wild card berth. Why? They added a wild card team.
Right.
And they lost to New Orleans 21-9. Promptly got booted out of the wild card, out of the playoffs. They were 26th offensively last year. 22nd on the pass, 25th on the run. So, number 14 on defense. That's not terrible. Here's the thing. Justin Fields is their guy, He kind of slipped down to him in the draft, which was nice. They didn't have to trade up. But they also have Andy Dalton, who came via the Cowboys, via Cincinnati.
Okay.
Is Justin Fields the starter on day one?
Yes.
Game one. Okay. And you don't think that they would hold him for any reason to let him watch or learn more?
I don't see a reason to.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not sure he's going to develop. I'm not sure players develop that way anymore.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
not sure that anybody really does. One, does that, and two, I'm not sure it works. So I feel like if they think he's game ready now, they should start him.
If he comes out,
So,
if they come out, let's say they lose games right away with him at the quarterback. At some point in time, do you think that they would go to Andy Dalton and say, "Wait a minute, let's slow down"? Because they were 8-8 last year and made the playoffs. If they don't make the playoffs this year, everyone's going to see it as a step back with a new quarterback, with the
right,
guy that's supposed to be a savior.
But that's also the excuse.
Well, it's true, but I mean, they're going to view it as, "Oh, this is a first-round draft pick. He should be doing something." Everybody seems to have overinflated expectations of what a first-round draft pick does for you.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. There's very few that come out and do that.
True.
Anyway, I agree. Justin Fields will probably be the opening day quarterback.
I can see them going. I can see them going the other way, going back to Nick Foles or Andy Dalton or something like that, versus starting them and then eventually starting Justin Fields. I mean, that one seems like the more conventional route, which is, oh, you're going to play the vets, and if the vets can't get it done, then we'll throw in the towel and put in the backup, the rookie. But I don't know. I feel like they were so lucky to get Justin Fields,
right,
that they shouldn't squander it.
Well, right.
And they should take advantage.
I agree. I'm right there with you. So they have a pair of Oregon State running backs on the roster right now, by the way, Ryan Nall and Artavis Pierce, who have a combined 11 career rush attempts in 3 seasons, by the way.
Sweet.
Yeah, one of them, if not both, will be cut at some point. David Montgomery's their rusher, 1,070 yards last year. Allen Robinson had 120 catches, 1,250 yards, 6 touchdowns last year. They got some parts and pieces. Chicago's not a bad.
Ryan Hall's managed to stay on that roster though for like 4 years now.
Yeah, it's amazing. Well, this is gonna be his 3rd year. Yeah,
I think this is the team that drafted him.
It is, and it's just odd because he hasn't done much. They haven't given him the opportunity to do anything.
Well, being fair, that offense has been anemic at best because they decided that Mitchell Trubisky was the quarterback of the future when literally everyone thought that was a bad idea. Literally everyone. There was not a single person who I know who was like, "Oh yeah, Trubisky, he's got upside." Everyone was like, "Who is he?"
They were so high on Trubisky when they drafted him. I was like, they must know
that weird quarterback inflation.
They
thing.
know something I don't know. That's what I thought.
It's the same thing that drove Trey Lance into the top 3, and no one knows why.
And there are certain guys that I've told you and we've discussed that are certain guys that came into the draft and I go, like Johnny Manziel. That is not a guy I trust. I do not want him on my football team. And I didn't know anything about Mitchell Trubisky. I watched him play at North Carolina, and I'm like, he's okay. But all of a sudden they're drafting him in the 1st round. I'm like, there must be something I missed. There's got to be something that he has that I'm missing. I'm not seeing it. Turns out that's not true.
Turns out that's not the case.
He's just bad. All right. Chicago Bears, how many wins this year?
That division is the question. Is Detroit going to be anything? Is Minnesota going to be anything? That's so difficult to say.
This is why
I'm going to keep them at 8 wins.
This is why we pay you the money.
Sure, 8 wins.
Parker says 8. Parker says 8 wins for the Bears.
No movement.
So nothing at all, and maybe a playoff spot if the NFC remains terrible.
They can't. Yeah. If it happens, which I don't think it will. I think Detroit's going to improve, and that's going to come at the expense of someone. I don't see any reason why Minnesota would step back. It just seems like it's probably going to be Chicago that does.
I think it's 7 for Chicago.
Ooh, nice.
I think it's 7-9, just because of a brand new quarterback, learning, young guy. He's going to make mistakes. He's good. We know he's good, but he's going to have some issues. Did you watch him play preseason? Did you watch him play the first game against Miami?
Yeah, I watched it.
He
looked okay.
He looked. I mean, yeah.
He looked a little slow.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I thought he looked much faster at Ohio State.
Well, he's an NFL caliber player running amongst 90% non-NFL caliber players.
That's true.
So
I thought he had better wheels. But he wasn't bad. Serviceable was the term I was thinking when I watched him. I was like not impressed, but not bad
yeah,
for a rookie.
it looked kind of like a wash to me. He had a decent little stat line. He didn't have any turnovers, so that's good.
Yeah,
That's what you want to see in a pre. I mean, that when you give
the
him the
first
chance,
game
don't
too.
turn the
Yeah,
ball over.
yeah,
But yeah, I just think like every one of his motions, like when he's bouncing around in the pocket, it just looks slow. When he's throwing, like his actual throwing style seems slow to me, and I don't know why that is because I know it's not that slow.
right.
He just seems kind of slow. And then he comes out and says, "Oh, when they asked him like, how do you feel about the game speed?" I feel like he goes, "It seems a little slow to me." And I'm like, "Come on, get out of here."
Simmer down.
You almost got you have not had Von Miller bearing down on you
You
yet,
you
or
you you
Jamal Adams coming out of the backfield.
you've played exactly a quarter of a game. Simmer down now.
Yeah, yeah. It's just yeah. I'm sorry that the second and third stringers are slow. Just wait, bud.
Let's
Khalil
all
Mack can't hit you at
those
practice, but there's a lot of other guys that will later.
those guys from Eastern Washington aren't nearly as fast as they look on TV. So just relax. Let's move to Detroit because alphabetically, this is what happened. See, I was thinking that same thing. Atlanta, Carolina, same division. Chicago, Detroit, same division. I was thinking, wow, this is working out great. Um, let's talk about the Detroit Lions. Pulled off that mega deal.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was them or the Rams that pulled off the mega deal. I'm not sure who got the better end of that because we won't know until the end of this year. But Jared Goff for Matt Stafford. Was Matt Stafford the reason why Detroit has been at best a 9-win team? Is he,
No, I've never thought it was his fault. I've thought that they had this coaching carousel that they're dealing with, and then I thought that they had line issues, and it's been the same ever since Joey Harrington went there back in the day. They put all their money into, outside talent, but gave their quarterback zero time to work with, and Matt Stafford did the best with what he could. But I mean, what is it Kelso says? I mean, damn, Jackie, you can't do everything.
they they surrendered a lot of points. Detroit was 32nd defensively in terms of
Ooh,
yards and 32nd in terms of scoring defense. So they gave up a lot of points. Their defense needs to improve for them to do anything. And yet they won 5 games. They were
right.
5-11, last in the AFC North. I, so Penei Sewell saves the day.
Penei Sewell has the chance to save the day.
Well, he's going to be helpful.
He has the chance to save the day. But I mean, last year in terms of Matt Stafford's career, he was 64%, 4,000 right at 4,000 yards. It was towards the bottom of his total, like what he's put up and things like that.
Yeah.
But he didn't turn the ball over a whole lot last year. That was fairly low for his career. I mean, in his whole career though, since he's been like a true starter, his interception rating is less than 3. His most interceptions he's ever had in a year was 19. That was in his second year. So ever since then, it's been less. Everything's been less. So I don't know that he's not the problem. He's gotten sacked a lot. His sack numbers are always very high. So Penei Sewell will definitely help close that up a little bit. He will help close that up for Jared Goff. But I don't know if Goff is going to be able to produce passing wise the same way that Stafford did. Goff is not as good a passer. So he's going to get sacked probably the same amount of times because he's dumb. because he can't pass the ball very well, because he holds it too long, because he can't make decisions the same way. Stafford is a better quarterback, and he's just happened to have no protection, but now he's got it.
The Lions won 11 games in 2014. That's the most since Matt Stafford has been there, and that was 2012 when he became the quarterback.
Yeah, big time.
But they won 11. They won 9 twice, and the rest of them were less than that.
Right.
They haven't been competitive. I mean, really. I don't know. Their defense has got to improve. They got to go out and start getting defense, because otherwise, if your defense doesn't get stops and turnovers, then your offense gets zero chance to do anything, and every possession is super important, and it puts a lot of pressure on an offense.
Yeah.
So I feel like their defense has to step up this year.
When you look through their defense, you kind of find yourself going, "Who?"
Yeah.
Like, there's a bunch of names that you kind of know, like Tremont Brock. I know who Tremont Brock is, kind of.
Kinda.
I know who Jalen Reeves Maben is, kind of. I know who Trey Flowers, Desmond Trufant. But you go through it, and there's a bunch of these names of people that seem like they're famous people, but you just don't know why they're not producing, because there's a bunch of good names on here, but I don't know, there's just not enough on there. Like, as you look through, you go, Where's the big name? Where's the superstar? Well, maybe Panay's that guy.
Maybe. The
But I mean, rarely do we call linemen superstars.
the Lions lost 7 games last. No, I'm looking at the wrong season. Just give me hold on.
Just kidding.
Just kidding. Don't listen to me. The Lions gave up a lot of points last year. I'm looking at this 40, 42, 35, 34, 41, 34, 41, 34, 46, 47, 37 was the last 3 games. Mm. They were just bad.
Not great.
They were just bad. They were just bad defensively. And if they had known that ahead of time, they could have started tanking at the beginning and not had to make the trade. They could have just drafted a guy. Anyway,
They were top 10 in passing yardage and yards per game.
I don't have much good to say about Detroit. How many wins for Detroit next year?
Well, I'm going to keep Chicago where they're at. So I'm going to move Detroit up a little bit. I say 7 wins.
Wow. They're going to improve 2. They're going to improve 2 wins, you think?
There's going to be a division somewhere that's got to take the hit of all these improvements.
All right. Yeah, right. So that I feel like you're pulling them from Minnesota. So I think you're pulling them from. But I said Chicago would step back 1 game. So I guess that could be an up for Detroit. But I'm going to go with 6. I don't think they're going to improve enough to be a factor. I think they're taking a step back with Jared Goff right now.
Yes.
I'm not saying Jared Goff's a bad quarterback. I think this is a bad situation for him.
I concur.
Yeah, and so there you go. All right, let's move to the number 1 overall draft pick.
Woo!
And that's Trevor Lawrence. Jacksonville Jaguars were 1-15 last year, and may or may not have tanked. We don't know, but they were last in the AFC South. They were 28th in offense and 31st in defense. So bad on both sides of the football. But Urban Meyer is here to save the day. He is the new head coach. He has 199 career NCAA wins and absolutely 0 NFL wins.
Woo!
So we're starting from scratch. And what did he do first of all? Well, he pulled in Tim Tebow because he's going to have him play. Let's try and get him to play tight end for us.
Right.
That didn't work out. So Tim Tebow was released today or yesterday. I can't remember. But anyway.
Something like that.
Yeah, so Tim Tebow's out again. Out of baseball. He's out of football. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know. I don't even know what to do with him now. He's going to become a pastor, like a youth pastor somewhere.
He's going to go back on his book tour. He's going to go back to hosting a television show or something.
Right. He's going to be on He's going to be on ESPN on game day. They're going to have him on there because he was such a big deal in college. And I'm like, yeah, if he couldn't have jumped past, if he didn't have the jump pass, he wouldn't have been anything. But anyway, yeah, the best running quarterback ever in up the middle. Anyway, so let's talk about Trevor Lawrence. He got his guy, number 1 overall pick. He's trying to tell us right now that there's a QB competition between him and Gardner Minshew, who was
He's full of it.
Sixth round pick out of Washington State. 2 years ago?
Yeah.
I don't believe him. I think Trevor Lawrence is the guy, and I think no matter what Gardner Minshew does, it would take a broken leg from Trevor Lawrence for him to get in.
I don't think this is on the coach. I think this is on the ownership and the fans. Yeah. I think at the end of the day, the fans have decided that they want Trevor Lawrence. So as a team, if you don't play Trevor Lawrence, you're going to have to deal with them.
Yeah, you're right. And that's the way it is with most. That's the way it is with most number 1 draft picks, first round draft picks. That especially a quarterback. When you get a guy, you draft a guy, and you go, oh, he better be playing now, and we better be better. And well, they can't be. Let's be honest, they can't be much worse. So
sure, they really can't go down farther.
So give me a number.
Although I was watching Colin Cowherd, and he was talking about Gardner Minshew and who's the quarterback for Cleveland? Oh my gosh, Baker Mayfield.
Mm-hmm.
Their stats were identical in college. Their stats are identical in the NFL. We're talking like if one person's throwing for 1,000 yards, the other person might have thrown for like 990.
Right.
Like that close. Everything is the same. The difference is one person was drafted to a winning team. One person was drafted to, well, I guess Cleveland wasn't a winning team at the time, but that team did a lot of work to surround him, and Jacksonville hasn't done any work to surround Gardner. And as a matter of fact, they're now trying to replace him. But, they were saying that, he was at Washington State, and he did the exact same things, numbers-wise, with a lot worse talent.
Yeah.
At Washington State that Baker did there. So I thought that was really interesting. Number for them, I'm going to say Jacksonville wins 4 games.
Well, that'd be about right.
Yeah.
I'm looking at their past seasons right now, and and in 2017
Right.
they won 10. They were 10 and
Ooh.
6, but in 18-19, it's 4-6, you know, and then one. So
Well,
what do you?
2017 was the year that Jalen Ramsey was there. They played like the Colts or the Titans in the playoffs or something like that. I
Uh,
think is what it was.
they played Buffalo and won 10-3. They played Pittsburgh and won 45-42. They lost to New England 24-20
That's
in
what.
in the conference
Oh,
championship, the
that was
AFC championship
Miles
game.
Jack. That was
That was
the getting ripped off.
yeah, yeah,
Miles Jack had the strip sack and took it back for a touchdown, or the
right,
strip and took it back for a touchdown, and they called it down
right,
and didn't review it.
and that was Blake Bortles that was leading that
Yeah,
team,
that
and
was yeah.
Leonard
Lest we
Fournette.
forget, Blake Bortles has got more playoff wins than a lot of people.
Leonard Fournette and Blake Bortles. That was that team.
Right.
Okay, how many did you say? What I wasn't listening. How many
I
did you say?
said 4.
4. So that's like a 400% improvement. I I I want to give them a lot of credit. I want to see what, but I until they start playing games that are meaningful, they're still the worst team in that division.
Seems that way.
And I think 4 is ambitious, but I'm hesitant to give them 3. I'm gonna go with 4 too. Dang it, I didn't want to do that, but okay, 4. Let's give them 4. And
Yeah.
so then we'll see what they do in year 2 after a 4-12 season. Yeah. Anyway, all right. Next, you ready?
Yep.
Chargers.
Chargers.
Los Angeles Chargers, one of our favorites. 7-9 last year, third in the AFC West. They were ninth in offensive yards,
Yeah, they
sixth
pretty
in the
much crushed it.
sixth in the pass, but 23rd in scoring.
Yeah, so I think there's some red zone issues there.
Yep, they were 23rd defensively, ninth against the pass, 18th against the run, and 23rd in scoring. They gave up a lot of. So this is a team that gave up a lot of red zone points and didn't score when they were in the red zone.
57.1% in the red zone. Not
It's not great.
fantastic.
No. So Justin Herbert is back, looking to improve on what was an unbelievable rookie season. He was a 66.6%, 4,336 yards, 31 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. It doesn't get in much better than that,
Right.
no matter who you are. The question I have is, can Larry Roundtree, they drafted him out of Missouri, can he be the answer at running back? They've been doing it by committee for so long. It's Austin Eckler, Justin Jackson, Joshua Kelly. Nobody is a guy. Nobody could stay healthy. Number one.
Right.
But they drafted Larry Roundtree, and he looked pretty good in the first preseason game. He had a 25-yard run, ended with like an average of, I'm going to say 14 yards a carry or something like that, but he only had like 6 carries. So, still good. I mean, I thought he looked pretty good. Do you think offensively they can improve? They lost Hunter Henry. I thought that was kind of a big deal at the time. I don't.
It to me still seems like it was a big deal. I feel like him and Justin had a good connection, and so it seems like that's kind of gone now. And I'm not 100% sure who they're replacing him with.
Well, they did pick up Hunter Kampmoyer.
Oh
So,
yeah, they drafted a duck.
so now they've got a guy who he's familiar with from college. So not that he'll make the team and he's going to be good or anything. I don't know, but usually you have
TBD.
a pretty good connection with those guys that you've thrown to before.
Right.
Okay, so then defensively, Joey Bosa, can he stay healthy? Because
I would think so. You can.
he he was a problem last year, and he can only play limited downs and limited time, and he's what makes their defensive line, their rush, go, the pass rush, and they didn't have it last year,
Right.
which is a problem. The offensive line was one of the worst in the league, but they did pick up Rashawn Slater from Northwestern as a first-round pick. That was probably a good deal. If they can protect Justin a little bit better and give him just a little more time so he doesn't have to use his legs as much,
Right.
I think they can improve even on 7-9. I don't know how much, though. So, what do you think they have to do to improve on 7-9? Which part of that is it offense? Is it defense? Which one needs the most address?
Protect Justin Herbert better on offense and better, more efficient coaching. Understand what you have and use it, both in Justin and your other players. Austin Eckler is a fantastic running back, a catching running back, a receiving running back. He's fantastic. Why are you not putting 2 running backs in the backfield and sending them out every time.
And I think he had some injury last year. He had some issues. I think
He did.
everybody
He
on their
got he
team.
got hurt at one point. He only played in 10 games, but
Yeah.
still, like use him to the advantage. You know,
Yeah.
he's got a really high catch percentage. He's got his yards after contact are pretty good. But either way, 2 running backs in the backfield, slide him out
Right.
and have him go run. Have him run from the slot.
Get
Essentially,
him.
be a weird hybrid player. I feel like their coach gets kind of stuck, and Anthony Lynn gets kind of stuck in this whole like, well, this is how this is Charger football. Charger football to me is winning football, right? That's any football. Whatever team I'm watching, I want their football to be winning football.
Right.
I could care less how that looks. I don't care if it involves my quarterback playing wide receiver. It's like if it wins us games, it wins us games.
Right.
So yeah, use the people you got. It's mostly offense, I think, is their issue. I thought their defense wasn't terrible. Could use some work, but I think that they drafted some things, and obviously Bosa getting hurt didn't help. But I just feel like they'll trend in the right direction.
They've got the one Monday night game this year against Vegas. That's
Nice.
October the 4th. They do play the NFC East, and if the NFC East is the same as it was last year, that could be 3 or 4 wins. I mean, let's be honest. You're talking about the Giants, Dallas, Washington, and Philly. And I don't think the Giants are going to take that big giant step forward. No pun intended. But Washington has the best defense probably in the NFL, but no offense to go with it. And Dallas is going to have probably Dak Prescott back. They're going to definitely improve on last year. So that's going to be an interesting thing. I don't know about Philadelphia. We'll talk about them here in a couple minutes. But
sure.
I feel like this is a team. Okay, so how many wins? They were 7-9 last year. What are we going to give LA this year?
I'm gonna give them 9 wins, and I'm gonna give them getting in the playoffs.
I was thinking that same thing. 9 wins with a wild card berth. That's what I was thinking. So, yep, we're on the same page. All right.
Their minds think alike.
Sometimes.
So do stupid ones.
Unfortunately, that's true too. Second half of the show brought to you by Boss Kitty Hand-Dyed Yarns. Be sure to tune into BossKittyLive.com 6 p.m. every Monday and Wednesday, 11 a.m. every other Sunday for fun, fiber, games, tutorials, and the occasional F-bomb. Go to BossKittyShop.com. Get your DK and fingering weight yarns as well as stitch and progress markers. Looking for a gift? Get them a Boss Kitty Shop virtual gift card. Let them pick it out themselves. That's Boss Kitty Hand-Dyed Yarns. Yarns so boss, you'll knit your pants. So let's keep moving because we got a time thing going on.
Sure. Yep.
Let's go to the other side of LA.
Okay.
I don't think it's on the other side. They play in the same stadium. The Rams. Let's talk about the Rams and their acquisition of Matt Stafford. 10-6 last year, second in the NFC West. They had the wild card weekend win over Seattle, 30-20, and then they lost to Green Bay, 32-18, and actually looked bad doing it.
Right.
They were 22nd offensively in terms of yards. They were the number 1 defense in terms of yards allowed last year, and third in the run, first against the pass, and first in scoring defense. So their defense was so good, and yet they still only won 10 games, finished second in the division.
Right.
They're blaming it on Jared Goff, I feel. That's why the trade.
Well, that's what it seems like they're pointing at.
Yeah.
This must be this person's fault.
And I think that's what they're doing. But Matt Stafford is the new quarterback. He was, 64% last year, 4,084 yards, 26 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. In 12 years in Detroit, he had 3 seasons with 10 or more wins. Cam Akers, Darrell Henderson Jr. combined for 1,250 yards, but only 7 touchdowns last year. I think there's another team that couldn't get in the end zone last year, the Rams. They had trouble scoring. Right. The defense is just fantastic. I don't know what else you can say about the Rams defense, but Aaron Donald was the defensive player of the year. I mean that probably helps you figure out how good they were. But they're good. Their defense is fantastic. What do the Rams need to do? Is Matt Stafford the answer, first of all?
I don't know if he's the answer, meaning like wins you a Super Bowl, but I think he's an improvement.
Okay. And how much of a improvement over a 10-win team that had the number 1 defense in the league? That's probably the reason they got 10 wins is because they had the number 1 defense in the league.
Right.
How much of an improvement can he be? Is the question I guess we're trying to figure out.
I think that he can do quite a few things much better than than Jared Goff. He's not as mobile as Goff. I'll give Goff that, but they kind of benefit out in that they have to play. Their schedule isn't terrible. You know, they've got Chicago, they've got Indy, they've got some tough teams in there, and their division is a killer. That's where they're gonna suffer because if Arizona improves after all the pickups that they got,
Yeah.
then you're really hurting. Somebody's got to take a step back, and the 49ers are actually a pretty darn good team, top to bottom.
Yep.
I'm not. I One of those two teams is going to have to give and lose some games. I think it'll end up being the Rams. I think they're going to fall back in terms of wins losses, but I think they're going to look better in their wins and in their losses.
Yeah.
I just think it's just going to be symptomatic of a bigger issue like within the division.
Yeah, that division's gonna cannibalize itself, I think. And
Probably
in that, you got 6
they
games.
did last year.
There's 6 games you got to play, and if everybody finishes 3-3, that's hurtful to the overall, somebody winning, being a number 1 seed or whatever. But you can clearly see how this division is capable of doing that. The Rams have the
Right.
best defense in the division, and they're the worst record in the division. Well, they're second. I'm sorry, they were second in the division, but I don't know. I feel like they're going to be. I feel like the Rams take a step back, not much, but just a hair. Because I think Arizona's getting better, and I think San Francisco is going to be much better than they were last year.
Well, like that's why I said like just because their record gets worse doesn't mean they're necessarily worse.
Right.
It's just a bigger issue. I think that's what they're dealing with. I think that they're all of their. I don't know about their defense. I feel like you can't get better than being the best defense in the league, but I think that all of their offensive stats are going to improve, and it's all going to look a lot cleaner on that end. They just might not win more games because of the other great teams.
Hey, I'm sitting here watching, and not to interrupt anything, but I'm sitting here watching highlights. I think it's highlights anyway of Oakland and Chicago playing baseball. And
Sure.
and I don't know who this is, but an Oakland A's pitcher literally just took a shot off of his face.
Yeah, he got to get carted off. It's a
Yeah,
highlight.
and it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
There was a lot of blood. I don't know, but I'm just literally this first time I'm seeing it. It must have been a highlight from earlier in the day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Um. Anyway, gosh, I hope I hope he's okay, but it looked awful. He went down, and it was bad. Um. Yeah, man, that's what happens when you're only 60 feet away.
It's true.
I mean, it's hard. The reaction time is just not. Literally hit him right in the face. He threw his glove up, and it would just missed it, and it hit him right on the right side of the face.
Yeah, it was Chris
I'm watching
Bassett,
I'm
pitcher
watching
for
it
the
now.
A's.
Line drive right back up the middle. And as a hitter, you got to feel terrible. And the note it says here is he's conscious and aware and is on his way to the hospital, but that must have been earlier today, so that's good. Good news. All right, sorry about that. First time I had seen that, and I was like, woo, that's ugly. But that's baseball, non-contact sport, sure, but the ball hits you, it's now a contact sport. The Rams, let's see, Cam Akers, Daryl Henderson. Did I say that? 1,250 yards.
Yeah.
They combined for 7 touchdowns. How many
Yeah.
wins? So I feel like they need to decide on a running back for number 1.
I don't
Um,
think so. I think they need to keep what they got going on.
Okay. How many wins for the Rams?
Well, they were 10-6 last year. I think they fall to 9 or 8. I'm gonna say 8.5.
You can't. Well, let's not do that. So you want to call them 8-7-1?
Yeah, 8-7-1.
So that's only 8 wins. Okay.
Yeah, I'll say 8 wins. I say
That-
they fall 2 because they also have to play Green Bay in that division, and who knows what's going on with them. So
I picked 8 wins as well. So I think we're on the right page. Okay. Next, New Orleans.
right.
New Orleans is the team with the best record that we're going to talk about today. 12-4 last year, first in the NFC South. They won the division. And we were talking about that earlier, and we couldn't remember, but they won, and they beat Tampa Bay both times in the regular season. The second time, 38-3, and then lost to where is it at? Yeah, they lost to Tampa in the divisional round, 30-20. But they beat Chicago in the wild card round. No, in the first. I guess it would be the. Let's see. New Orleans lost in the. Yeah, that's right. That doesn't seem right. New Orleans was number 2 overall. They should have had a bye, right? And then they played Chicago. So there was 2 wild card weekends, I guess, right? Is that right? I don't know. They beat Chicago 21-9. Lost Tampa Bay 30-20. They were 12th offensively, 19th in the pass, which you don't expect from a Drew Brees team. 6th in the run, but that's Alvin Kamara. and then they were fourth defensively. So
Yeah.
Breeze retires. So now it's Winston or Hill. Which guy would you give the ball to start the season?
Oh, sorry. I thought there was gonna be. You sounded like there was gonna be more
There
to that.
was going to be more, but I figured I better stop. Which
Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston all day. Give it to the true quarterback. Let the true quarterback play quarterback.
would you
Don't give it to Taysom Hill. He had a start against Denver and it did not go well.
put them both on the field at the same time?
Absolutely, just the same way you did
He,
before. Taysom Hill's role is no different than it was.
right, but I think what they're thinking is that he's a quarterback now, and not that jack of all trades guy. And
Who's thinking that?
well, I feel like New Orleans is thinking that.
I don't think New Orleans
And
is thinking that. I think New Orleans is trying to generate a little controversy.
As the backup quarterback, you don't want him playing every down.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
that would
not...
be the conventional wisdom, is that I don't want my backup quarterback getting hurt catching a pass.
Well, but he was your backup quarterback before.
Kinda, yeah. No, he was a third string quarterback before, right?
Kind of, yeah. So why isn't he the third string now? Why does his role have to change at all?
It doesn't, but it's gonna.
Not necessarily.
If he's the second best quarterback you have, he's the backup quarterback. That's just the way it is. I mean, but I don't know. I would put him on the field at the same time and do the same thing and run those plays that he was good at. You know, sweeps and runs and passes, you know, and end around kind of things, and you know, the crazy plays that he is really good at doing. I would still do them. And if you have two quarterbacks on the field, that's helpful, I think.
So they've got Jameis Winston, they've got Trevor Siemian, and they've got Taysom Hill.
Yep.
All right. Not that Trevor Siemian is, you know, like a beacon here of quarterback efficiency, but he's as good as Taysom Hill at being quarterback. Plus, he has experience being a starting quarterback.
Sure, but
you have two guys with experience being starting quarterbacks, and both of them have had some success. Like Trevor Siemian never took the Broncos anywhere significant. Jameis Winston, he definitely started the Buccaneers on the path that they're on, but they never quite got over the hump. I feel like if you're the Saints and you're like, well, we got to do something with Taysom. No, you don't. Not unless he's threatening to leave, unless he's going to be a starting quarterback, at which point you might just want to consider getting rid of him, picking up Tim Tebow and using him as your jack of all trades. Like, there's a lot of options there. He is a replaceable person if people just understand their role. If understand what he does and what he brings to the table and what he's so good at, why he's even on an NFL roster right now. Why are you trying to mess with that? Stir it up. Like, let it be. Let Jameis do the quarterback thing, and you do the thing you've always done that's made you millions of dollars and kept you in the league. Keep doing that.
Alvin Kamara had
so good.
had where's that? I lost my place. 932 yards rushing and 16 touchdowns. He had 1,680 total yards and 21 touchdowns. So that's an extra 700 yards receiving with another 5 touchdowns. Michael Thomas has got to be healthy.
Right.
He played 7 games last year, only had 40 catches. Their defense is good. Defense was number 4th overall, 5th against the pass, 4th against the run, 5th scoring. That's a good defense. If they can just keep that defense and just keep playing the defense that they're playing, and Jameis Winston steps up and becomes well, he doesn't have to be the guy that threw for 5,000 yards in Tampa, but he has to be a good game man. Alvin Kamara will take care of most of this work. You know, and
you just can't replace. You can't add more turnovers. Drew Brees only threw 6 interceptions last year. He's a mastermind of not turning the ball over. If you come in and you don't throw, he only threw for 3,000 yards and 24 touchdowns.
Right.
I mean, that's actually a lot of touchdowns, 2 yards, but you know, that's a really high touchdown percentage.
Yeah, it is.
But you just can't turn the ball over more. So if you throw for 2,500 yards and 20 touchdowns, fine, we'll make it up somewhere else.
And that's the worry, I
just
think.
don't turn the ball over,
right?
Dude. Don't go 30 for 30 again.
That's the worry, I think. All right, so how many wins for New Orleans this year?
They're gonna. Gosh, they took a hit last year, but they're gonna take a big hit this year. I think they fall down to about 8.
Ooh, 8.
Yeah, I think they're gonna take a big hit. I don't personally trust Jameis Winston to get it done, so I think that they're gonna feel it.
I still think this is a 10-win team, but it's a wild card team.
All right,
that's what I think. That's 2 losses extra just from the Drew Brees departure. Everything else remaining the same. Winston can do it. He doesn't have to be great. If he can accept the fact that all he has to do is not turn the ball over.
Right.
I think they'll be okay. But I don't. If he starts trying to force things, and he did that in Tampa quite a bit. You know, hey, look, I can throw this. I can make that throw. You don't have to make that throw. That's the thing.
Well,
Um,
they didn't do a lot to get him a running back in Tampa,
no,
so he was kind of asked to
and I think
be the offense.
once he starts playing with Alvin Kamara, he'll realize that.
Yeah.
Right. All right, move. We got to move.
Yep.
So
Got to move.
let's get to Philly.
Philly.
4-11, 4-11-1
Right.
last in the NFC East, which is saying something. But they were only two
Right.
games back. Um, they were 25th offensively, 19th defensively. Jalen Hurts looks like he's going to be the guy.
Should be.
But I'm not sold that Jalen Hurts is a NFL caliber quarterback. I feel
Wow.
like he's going to end up being somebody's backup quarterback for a few years, and then he's going to be out. Joe Flacco is in as the backup.
Right.
And Joe Flacco's a winning quarterback. That's a guy who knows how to win.
Was a winning quarterback.
Well, okay. He's got a Super Bowl ring,
Yeah.
and
Well, yeah. He's got one. He got one from a while ago.
if that's the measure of a true of a winner, because that seems to be what everybody measures all quarterbacks by, is how many Super Bowl rings they have. When he's way ahead of 90% of quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So he's got anyway. He's there. They got Devontae Smith from Alabama.
Right.
Jalen Hurts and him have played together.
Right.
Maybe that'll help, right? Their offense, their passing offense last year was 28th. So,
Sure.
he can't hurt. Hopefully he can make an immediate impact. They still have Zach Ertz, right?
Devontae Smith did have an injury at training camp though, so that's something to keep an eye on. Is he's undersized to begin with. Is he going to be able to stay healthy?
That's true. Got to keep an eye on it. This looked like a team that needed help on both sides of the ball, but they play in the NFC East, so you don't know how good or bad they really were.
Right.
So is this one of those things we're gonna have to wait and see? I mean, do you feel like Philadelphia is capable of winning the NFC East this year?
Do I feel like they're capable of winning the NFC East? Yes.
Okay.
I do. They are the other team. I mean, I feel like Washington's defense is going to be the best defense in the NFC East, but I don't think their offense is going to be there.
How many wins can Philly pull off?
Let's see here. So they're 4-11 last year. I think that they could probably snake that up to 7-8 this year. I'm gonna say 8.
Ooh, I'm gonna give them 6.
All right.
I don't think Jalen Hurts is the guy, but that's just me. I mean,
we're gonna learn soon.
We're gonna find out here in a couple weeks. Okay, so let's move to a team we all know and love, and that's the Seattle Seahawks.
Right.
Well, not necessarily love. They were 12-4, first in the NFC West. They were the number 3 overall seed. They lost to the Rams in the wild card round, 30-20.
Right.
17th offensively last year, 22nd defensively. Those are not great numbers for a team that was 12-4.
For a team that has all these super fantastic pieces, they've got DK Metcalf, the best receiver, and Russell Wilson, the best quarterback, and Chris Carson's a hard runner, and
Right.
So we live in the Northwest, so we hear all this crap.
Sure.
And then we look at the numbers afterward and we go, well, where was it?
This is a team that was much better in the red zone than out of it.
Sure.
They were 8th in scoring offense and 15th in scoring defense. So that number is better than their total yardage numbers. They find a way into the end zone. So that's how they won 12 games. Is you find a way. Russell Wilson 68.8% last year, 4,200 yards, 40 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions.
Right.
He threw the football a lot. Well, 558 times, but
yeah.
Jamal Adams just became the highest paid safety in the NFL with his 4-year extension, which is valued at about $72 million. I think there's $38 million of guaranteed money in there.
Right.
Which is helpful. They were dead last. Is that right? I'm looking at it right now, and it doesn't seem like that. They were 31st against the pass.
Right.
Last year, and Jamal Adams was there last year. So as a safety, I think he's one of those blitzing safeties. He's one of those guys.
Yeah, but he did have injuries.
He did.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
that excused it, but that's just
I think they need help with the corners. I think the corners are where they're soft. I think that's an issue. If they can improve a little bit on the cornerback play, because if you look at their roster, you see some names and you go, I don't know those guys.
I think you're also looking at the fact that your two superstars are 30 and 31.
They're getting there.
Bobby and KJ are 30 and 31 years old. They're not young guys. Statistically speaking, they've been on the downside of their career for a couple years.
Right.
Like, I don't think that's produced into numbers, but it's definitely not there. Jamal Adams is a boomer bust player. He's either going to get a pick, or he's going to blow up and get a fumble, or he's going to be
Not
non-impactful.
yeah.
He's too short to play true coverage, but he's capable of blowing stuff up.
Got to keep some running backs healthy.
Gotta
Everybody
keep
had
your
an
running
injury
backs
last
healthy.
year. Carson and Penny and everybody was
Time
hurt.
to move on from Chris Carson.
Maybe and maybe that's what they
Time
need
to
to do is draft a guy and just start over.
true.
But yeah, they're in such a bad spot. They remind me of the Trailblazers and a team that makes the playoffs every year and is right there and then doesn't do enough to get
Just doesn't cut it.
a good draft pick, but is
Yeah.
you know what I mean? They're on that limbo stage.
Chris
Anyway,
Carson only played in 12 games. He led the team in rushing, 681. Russell Wilson is the next highest rusher at 513.
yeah, yeah.
They abandoned the run when Chris Carson was not on the field, and it's and it's not
They
good.
they were the 12th highest in terms of yards, 12th highest running team in the NFL, and that was because Russell Wilson. um, since 2012, they have 9 or more wins every year. Since
Yeah.
losing Super Bowl 49, though, they're 3-5 in the playoffs. So that's been that I don't think they've overcome that loss. Just
Yeah.
that might be hanging out there. Seattle wins how many games this year, Parker?
Wait, hold on. You said since winning the Super Bowl, they're 3-5 or 3-9.
3-5 in the playoffs. They've been
That
in the
includes
playoffs.
that year they went to the Super Bowl again.
No, is after that.
Oh, since they played in the
Since
Super Bowl,
they
not since
lost,
they won it. Okay.
since losing Super Bowl 49.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry, I don't know why. I thought you said since they won the Super Bowl.
No.
I was like, wait, they've only never mind.
3-5.
Any hoozles. I think that they're 12-4 last year. I think they're going to step back. I think they're going to be 10-6, or sorry, 10-7.
All right, we forget there's another game in there.
There's an extra game. They're going to be 10-7.
I forget about the extra game, and I don't know.
Yeah, and that helps all those numbers I said earlier.
Who to give it to? Yeah, I think Seattle wins 9 games this year.
Fair.
I think they're going to go 9-8, and I think they're going to struggle. They may make the playoffs on a wild card, but because they're 7, but I don't know. Let's move one last team. You ready?
Yep.
Tennessee Titans.
Go.
11-5 last year, first in the NFC South. They were the number 4 overall team, and then promptly lost to Baltimore 20-13 in the playoffs. They were number 3 offensively. Why? Because they were number 2 in the run. They were 28th defensively, 29th against the pass. Tannehill was 65%, 3,800 yards, 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Very capable quarterback, but he adds Julio Jones to his wide receiver core. He only played 9 games last year, 51 catches, 771 yards, 3 touchdowns. But he's averaged over 100 catches a year from 2014 to 2019 before last year. Is he the missing link? Is he the guy that pushes them to a Super Bowl?
No,
Oh.
not even close. They're
Okay.
they're definitely going to improve in their passing game from that, but it's not the thing that's destroying them. Those games that they lose, you watch it. It's stagnant play calling. It's Derrick Henry's not working, but we're still trying it anyways. They're going to definitely convert some of those third and longs that they didn't convert before, but I don't see it elevating them much more.
I hear you. I am with you. I think they gave up a lot of points last year
They
too.
sure did.
They scored a lot of points. They gave up a lot of points. They do have Derrick Henry.
Right.
He is a factor, and they do like to ride that train. They also have AJ Brown, who's going to be the 2 now, with Julio Jones as the 1. That's going to help AJ Brown, I think. But they have to commit to actually throwing the football, right?
Right.
Getting
They
that.
will, and they're not going to do that. And I don't know if Ryan Tannehill's the guy.
Right. Well, Tannehill's he's
Yeah.
good with what he does. He's done
He's
a very
good
good
enough.
job in Tennessee. But
If he was smart, he would have tried to re-sign this year with New Orleans
might have been. He might have been.
and
the guy.
allow him to be the quarterback he needs. But see, right now he's a guy who only needs to throw for 150 yards a game
How many?
because Derrick Henry's going to grab the other 300.
How many wins for Tennessee?
I got them pegged, so they're 11-5 this last year. I think that they're going to stay the same with 11 wins, 6 losses.
Nice.
Yep.
I don't see that division depends on how good Carson Wentz can play in Indianapolis. I think.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that they stay at 11. I'm going to give them 12.
Ooh.
I'm going to give them 12 wins. I think that they're going to figure out halfway through the season that they can throw the football, and it's going to help them. Maybe open up more holes for Derrick Henry, but not necessarily more yardage because they won't have as many attempts. That's what I'm hoping. Anyway, so there's that. So we only have a little bit of time. Let's do the trivia question answer.
Yep.
And that is the trivia question, if nobody remembers it. was, what was the trivia question? Oh, uh, um, what two teams share the record, NFL record, for most improved win total over the previous year? How many games did they improve? Do you know?
I do not know,
Take a shot.
but I'm gonna make a guess. So,
Yeah.
what two teams share it? I'm gonna guess the Chargers and Buffalo Bills. My two
And
teams. And wait, what was the? What there was another part there. Did I have to
how,
guess the
well,
record?
how many wins? Yeah, how many games did they improve over the previous year?
Oh, they both improved 10 games.
Well, 10 games is right,
Yes.
but those two teams were wrong.
Dang.
So it was the 1999 Indianapolis Colts,
Oh, nice.
who went from 3-13 in Peyton Manning's first year to 13-3 his second year. But that also included Edgerrin James and Marvin Harrison. That was a good football team. And the 2007-2008 Miami Dolphins, who
Gross.
who went from 1-15 to 11-5.
Ugh.
So 10 wins is right. That's the most improvement. Anyway, that's all we have for today. And we are going to come back next week with our college football preview. And it's
Yeah.
going to be exciting. You don't want to miss it. We're live streaming on, I'll let everybody know. I'll post it on social media when we're going to have it. I think it's going to be on Wednesday. Pretty sure it's Wednesday night. So that would be
Sounds
the
about right.
25th. Yeah,
Sounds right.
25th. We're live streaming on YouTube every weekend, or I still have every weekend on here. I have to fix it. We're on Twitter at Lamm Sports, on Facebook under the Best Lamm Sports Show. Email lambsports@gmail.com. We want to thank our sponsors, The Range in Yakima, Boss Kitty Yarns, Stave and Stone Wine Estates at Hood River. Don't forget, we're going to be at Stave and Stone later this year. I don't know when. Stay tuned. We'll post it. And next week, 25th, college football preview. Don't want to miss it. It's going to be fantastic. This has been a Brain Rock production, a division of Lonely Tree Media, LLC. Thanks for listening.